Welcome to Wolfpack Week. Thanks for being with us again.
That is currently under construction.
Intense.
This is busier than ever.
Students and meeting with our student leaders.
Welcome to Wolfpack Week. Thanks for joining us again. I'm Madison Corney.
And I'm Christy Swartz. Coming up on this edition of Wolfpack Week, we take a look at ASUN's plans to raise the salary of senators. The Reno School of Journalism remodeling project is done, but there's still a lot to do. Virginia Street is undergoing major construction, and we take a look at how it's affecting campus traffic. And we say farewell to a UNR friend, Bill Raggio.
But first, ASUN recently submitted a proposal to increase senator pay. There's a lot of controversy over this subject, considering this is a time when the university is struggling financially. Kai Sisson has the story.
The ASUN Senate will be voting on legislation to more than double the future wages of senators as students brace for a raise in tuition costs. A bill sent by Senator Paul Herget of the Government Operations Committee will give senators $1,174 more a year, which will increase the budget by more than $25,000.
Well, what this would be is a reallocation of money through our general fund. So the same budget that we use to currently fund our senator and our wages, it would come from that budget, the ASUN general operating fund.
Senators are responsible for doing things such as talking to the dean of their respective college, passing legislation, and holding town hall meetings. But do students really care enough to consult their senator? Whitney Ginsburg of the Reynolds School of Journalism says, not really.
No, I've had a couple students that contact me and want to do interviews like this, but no one's done that.
This spreadsheet, provided by Speaker of the House Joseph Broad, who rejected to go on an on-camera interview, shows that senators who attend the minimum required office hours, as well as Senate and committee meetings, would be getting an average $13.12 an hour, up from $6.07, a necessary increase, says Ginsburg.
There are senators who do a whole lot more than others, and I think they definitely deserve the pay raise.
We're outside the Layton Senate chambers where the ASUN Senate will be voting on a bill to raise their own wages. This bogs the question, why not have students vote on the measure in the upcoming election to avoid conflict of interest? I asked why.
I think the biggest reason that it's not been put on the ballot is because it is something that can be handled internally, but also B, I don't think that students are necessarily aware that senators even get paid, or B, that it's an issue that is, I guess, of necessary concern.
Students did favor a referendum that was approved by voters 4 years ago, but ASUN bylaws allow that referendum to still be valid, even considering most students that voted on the measure have graduated.
I think they should probably vote again, just because if it was 4 years ago, I mean, it's a different student body.
This is our school, so we should have a say in what happens with the money and the budgets.
The Senate will vote on Bill 79-29 March 17th, and if passed, would take effect fall of 2012. Covering the story inside the Joe Crowley Student Union, I'm Kai Sisson.
The renovation of the Reynolds School of Journalism was finished in January, but that doesn't mean that everything is actually working. Travis Walgren tells us more.
After a full year of construction, the new and improved journalism building finally opened back up at the start of this semester. Students and faculty were anxious to return to their home and to check out the upgraded J School. A nearly $8 million grant paid for this giant makeover that includes a whole revamped broadcast area with multiple studios, a brand new grad area, upgraded classrooms, and a lot of new technology throughout the building. I spoke with Academic Chair Rosemary McCarthy about the renovations, both visible and invisible.
There are an awful lot of them, and some of them are invisible. Invisible ones would include a new fire alarm system and some improvements to air conditioning here and there, some improvements to plumbing here and there, and a lot of cabling from end to end in the building, things that we won't ever see but will make a difference in how we're able to do things.
As with any massive project, there are bound to be a few setbacks. While there are plenty of new things to be seen around the school, some planned improvements aren't functioning yet. I'm standing here inside what will soon be the new media newsroom, which students were hoping would be completed already, but after a few setbacks, it won't be completed until the end of the semester. Some students have expressed a little frustration with the incomplete building, but that's nothing that time shouldn't fix.
A little disappointed though that a lot of the technology doesn't quite work yet. We were told that we would have, really cool key cards and get access 24/7, but that's not a reality yet, so I'm really excited to see everything come together.
Not everything may be up and running yet, but the general feel surrounding this whole renovation is still very positive.
Yeah, I'm really satisfied with how everything's gone. That's not to say it's gone 100% perfectly well, and that the building will be 100% wonderful in everybody's eyes, but we took on a really big project, and by and large, it's gone really well.
If you're driving to campus every day, then you've probably noticed the massive amount of construction on Virginia Street right now. And this winter weather has not made the area any easier to navigate. Tolly Anderson has the story.
Virginia Street will be congested with traffic down to one lane until August 5th, 2012. This construction project will be putting a new sewer pipe into place, along with new water and gas lines. Keep a lookout for the alternate routes posted daily on message boards for the safety of vehicles and pedestrians around Virginia Street. Because of this, students must deal with the traffic frustration daily and find alternate routes to school. Sophomore Angela Greco tells us how she manages to get around with the construction.
With the construction, I try to leave a little bit early if I know I have to take that actual street on Virginia and 9th. Or maybe if I can avoid it, I'll try to use Sierra instead. That way I don't have to deal with that.
Commuters from the University of Nevada, Reno may have to adjust their travel time and routes for the next few months. Construction workers are working hard every day, but the frequently asked question is, why is there construction going on?
The North Virginia Interceptor Improvement Project is the second of 3 phases for the comprehensive sewer master plan that will allow the increased capacity to handle waste flows from existing, proposed, and future developments in North Reno and the surrounding areas.
The sewer expansion through Virginia Street may not seem like a concern to the drivers driving past, but with these winter weather conditions, the construction project could possibly be delayed longer, causing the drivers more frustration. Until then, continue to give yourself enough time to travel through this madness. Reporting for Wolfpack Week, I'm Tolly Anderson.
Former Senator Bill Raggio was a Nevada legend, and UNR is still mourning his passing. Heather Jansen has more.
Tragedy struck Nevada on February 23rd when former state senator William Raggio passed away of a respiratory illness while on vacation. Raggio was an influential part of Nevada government, serving on the state senate beginning in 1973 and ending in 2005. Millions of Nevadans are mourning the loss of a great man, and a memorial in the Reno Tahoe Airport was put together around his statue. The member of the Senate Hall of Fame was not only popular due to his success in Nevada government, but for his dedication to the University of Nevada, Reno. He continued to support the school by providing funding for education for UNR. Making sure students got the education they deserved was always a priority of his.
And you can't do it if you have a weak education system or you don't have good services.
He made such an impact that UNR's own education building is named after him. Christine Cheney, the Dean of Education, tells us what he contributed to the school.
Made sure that I think UNR was treated fairly as possible by the legislature. He made sure that we were adequately funded. He raised money made sure that the state provided money for this very building, the College of Education, that the College of Education is housed in.
William Raggio, his donations, and his accomplishments will never be forgotten in the state of Nevada. Reporting for Wolfpack Week, I'm Heather Jansen.
Electronic dance music has become extremely popular in Reno night spots and even on local radio stations. UNR, and even more specifically, the Reynolds School of Journalism, has an up-and-coming DJ in the mix. Chelsea Banks is live in studio with Max Kronyak. Chelsea?
Thanks, Madison. So Max, you're a full-time student and you're a DJ. How did you get started DJing?
Well, it started with I bought a small DJ controller, but the passion came a lot through my family. My dad was a bass player. My older brother played guitar, and I did a lot of kind of vocals, like in choirs or my church youth group.
And you just recently opened for Avicii, who's a huge headliner. What was that experience like?
It was incredible. It was a big DJ that I look up to, and it was very tough to get a gig like that.
So how did you even get that spot? What did you have to do?
It took a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, and a lot of support from my friends and family.
I know you self-promote a lot, so how do you get yourself out there? Do you practice? Do you play at venues around town? Like, how does that work?
Well, I started playing at like house parties, and then slowly fraternity and sorority dances and philanthropies. And then I was a guest at Club Work for Open Decks, and then I was asked to play weekends there.
What's your plans in the future for DJing? What do you have in store?
Well, I'd love to start playing in other cities while still keeping my local fan base, and eventually put out original tracks to the public.
Thanks. Back to you, Christy.
Thanks, Chelsea. Still ahead on Wolfpack Week. Getchell Library is still very empty, but changes could be on the way. The debate team makes the Nationals for the first time in 3 years, and UNR celebrates Black History Month. We'll be right back.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
Welcome back to Wolfpack Week. I'm Kirsty Swartz. The UNR campus has seen quite a few new buildings pop up in the last few years. But what happens to the old buildings when the new ones open? Madison takes us inside Getchell Library, which has now been closed for 4 years.
In 2008, the university library went from this to this. When the Knowledge Center opened 4 years ago, the Getchell Library was left vacant and still is, other than some old furniture and dusty bookcases. Getchell was never reoccupied by other services or organizations on campus due to code requirements. Despite the substantial building code issues, the space is still used on occasion. Law enforcement uses the building for training exercises, and the university facilities staff uses the basement to store their files. In order to make Getchell a functioning building on campus again, numerous repairs and remodeling would need to be done. The building has asbestos, an outdated sprinkler and fire alarm system, and lacks the proper accommodations for people with disabilities. In 2010, when those renovations were proposed, the cost was $10.5 million. And according to one student, that money could be spent somewhere else.
I think they can spend the money elsewhere. I mean, we don't need another building. We just got 2 new buildings.
Despite Eric's opposition to the university spending that kind of money, he didn't like the idea of the building being torn down either.
I think they shouldn't do that. I really like this building. I think it has some character, and I would be sad because I see this building every day.
There are 3 different proposals for Getchell right now. One is to completely remodel the building and spend the projected $10.5 million. The second option is to update certain codes costing only about $800,000, but leaving part of the building vacant. And finally, demolish the 50-year-old building, which doesn't seem right.
I hope they fix it up and do something with it. I don't want them to tear it down and do something new, and I don't want it to just sit here.
Funding for renovations has been requested, but the Public Works Board has not approved it. For now, the future of Getchell Library is unknown. For Wolfpack Week, I'm Madison Corney.
So that building looks a little creepy.
It was so scary. I thought something was going to pop out, and it's really funny because there's a Facebook page that says Getchell shut down because there's zombies in it. So maybe our zombie club can go play around in there.
All right. Well, the UNR debate team is joining the ranks of the Wolfpack athletic team and getting national recognition with one of their best seasons ever. Brent Kirkland reports.
There is one team on campus that once again is defining success, and it may be arguable, but odds are you probably don't know they exist. They're the Nevada Debate Team, a program of excellence that has produced a national champion in pairs or as individuals in each of the past 3 seasons.
In the history of the debate at Nevada is very strong, and I think it's really wonderful to know that that tradition is staying alive.
Jonathan McGuire is the team's captain as only a sophomore, and with each tournament is edging closer to becoming the next national champion at Nevada, a dream that could have never been thought of without his new partner this season, Somerset Bassett.
While we were gelling as a team, still come out victorious against absolutely great competition, I just thought was really amazing and kind of showed the determination we both had, because oftentimes we were snatching victory out of the jaws of defeat.
On the surface, their success together appears to come from the gifted mind of one and the speedy mouth of the other. But they believe it's from something deeper.
We really have the ability to communicate without talking. One of our judges said something along the lines of, you guys talk to each other without looking at each other.
A team complete with youth and championship expectations for years to come, Nevada Debate is among the most traditional and extraordinary programs in the university's history. But more than about winning trophies, debate gives these students a happier way of life.
I was a high school dropout, actually. I never thought I would have enjoyed an activity like this. But what debate did for me was it really made learning fun. And I feel like that's something that's going to be with me forever.
For Wolfpack Week, I'm Brent Kirkland.
February was Black History Month, and the campus had lots of special events to commemorate this occasion. Chelsea Banks has more.
Black History Month on the UNR campus closed out with a rap cipher where students came to rap about issues, Black history, and even politics. The cipher was open to all students who wanted to get on stage and express themselves with their own rap renditions. Freshman Kiara Brisker came out to the event to celebrate the rap cipher and to celebrate her heritage.
All African Americans come together, celebrate, talk about either what their family been through or even reflect on what's happening now, like the president. We talk about music. Black history is just anything having to do with like Black people.
Students at the event stressed the importance of diversity and how it can help you throughout life.
Not only will it help you be able to know how to interact with different people, different cultures, different races, but at the same time it'll help you out as far as, you know, when you get out into the business world, when you get out and actually go for your internship.
It's more important than what most people think it is, because if you have a school full of Black kids, you're not able to learn full social skills because you haven't interacted with another culture.
This is Chelsea Banks reporting for Wolfpack Week.
The Sagebrush is undergoing a redesign and looking for student input. Sagebrush editor Juan Lopez is here with Chelsea in studio to tell us what it's like to run a campus paper. Chelsea?
Thanks, Christy. So Juan, you're the new editor for the 2011-2012 school year. What are your plans to really reconstruct the Sagebrush as of right now?
Plans I have right now, because my editorship, it'll run up in a few months at the end of the semester. So we have plans moving forward to implement some sort of a redesign. As a newspaper, we're always looking at ourselves, at our organization, and looking at how we can refresh what we're doing and rejuvenate everything we're doing. Because I mean, newspapers and journalism in general is an ever-shifting thing. So we're always kind of looking at redesigns or things we can implement in our own organization in order to keep up with the times, you know.
I know that you said you wanted to implement more media. Like, what are your plans? Do you want to connect with more groups on campus? Like, and how is your advertising for that going?
Media, yeah, we definitely want to do that because people watch more videos now. A lot more videos. It's easier to watch a video on your iPhone and to read a 500-word article as you're in class. So we definitely want to branch out into that. We're reaching out onto some campuses, onto some organizations which are at the university already, which already do media. So we're hoping that we might be able to set up a collaboration with them. As far as advertising for that goes, it's really kind of picking up slowly because our staff is really slim as is. So it's really hard for us to do our weekly jobs and do this on the side. So it's a project, but it'll come along soon enough.
Thanks. Back to you, Madison.
Still ahead on Wolfpack Week, Mike Stephenson gives us an update on Nevada sports teams. We'll take a look at students affected by the Burning Man ticket lottery disaster. And you've seen it at Burning Man, the circus, and probably on TV. But did you know that there are fire throwers right here at UNR? We'll show you their unique talents when we come back.
Welcome back to Wolfpack Week. I'm Christy Swartz. Nevada spring season is well underway, and we take a look at how we're doing so far. Here with that and all the sports news is Mike Stephenson. Mike?
The Pack basketball team was on the road last week with two big games on the slate, one of which could clinch a WAC championship. First up, Iona in an ESPN Bracket Buster matchup. With a win, the Pack could have helped their chances at an at-large NCAA tourney bid. Despite a career-high 28 points from Oleg Shiz, the Gales notching the 6-point victory. The Pack then traveled to Fresno State, where they hadn't won since the 2008 season. Those were the days of Marcellus Kemp and JaVale McGee. This was a wild one throughout, a game that featured 19 ties and 32 lead changes. Oh, and did I mention it took 3 overtimes for a winner to be decided? Oleg Shiz followed up his career game at Iona with a 25-point performance. Dario Hunt held down the paint, dropping in 20 points and 15 rebounds as the Pack were able to escape with the 3-point win. A win that guaranteed them at least a share of the WAC championship. The Pack still have 2 games left to clinch outright, something that's very important to them.
It'd be huge. You know, I'm not a real fan of sharing anything, especially something as special as this. So we don't plan on sharing it. We're going to come out here with a lot of energy and trying to get a win in a really big game for us.
I was teasing the guys about girlfriends. They don't share their girlfriend. We're not going to share a championship. No, but, you know, I think it's special when you win it outright. I think it means that you're up top by yourself. And, you know, that's been one of the things that we talked about is having a chance to win something and win it by yourself. And when you go into summer, you're wearing a ring. No one else has that ring, or no one can hang a banner and say we share that the same year.
The Nevada women are continuing to struggle. They lost at home to Utah State as senior Kate Kevorkian's career-high 7 assists weren't enough. Their next game was a thriller, ending in an overtime loss to Idaho despite 23 points from senior Kayla Williams. The Pack then took off on a road trip for games against San Jose State and Hawaii, but unfortunately they were unable to stop the losing streak. The Pack have 2 home games remaining before the WAC tournament begins. Well, former Pack athlete Armand Johnson has been released by the Portland Trail Blazers. The move was done to make room for newly acquired big man Joel Prisbilla. Johnson was a second-round pick by the Blazers in 2010 after leaving Nevada his junior year. As you all know, the Wolfpack basketball team play their home games at Lawler Event Center. But as Wolfpack Week's own Dallas Kolodny found out, most people have no clue as to who Lawler was.
For nearly 30 years, students and fans have been going to Lawler Event Center to watch Nevada basketball, student graduation, and other special events. But do many of them really know who the building is named after? Do you have any idea who the gentleman is who has his name on the Lawler Event Center?
I do not. Mr. Lawler?
No, I don't.
I do not know, actually.
I don't know who it was named after.
This is Glenn Jake Lawler. He's a former Nevada football and basketball player from 1926 to 1930, and then he returned in 1942 to coach almost every sport on campus. But most students guessed he had a different impact.
He established Nevada. Maybe something important to the education movement here in Nevada?
Either helped a lot in the community or donated a lot of money to the university.
I would definitely guess something sports related.
He donated a lot of money.
Lawler eventually became the athletic director in 1959 and was a member of the inaugural Wolfpack Hall of Fame class in 1973. In 1979, a grant from the state legislature approved the building of the event center bearing his name. Ground was broken 2 years later, and it held its grand opening in November of 1983. Sadly, Jake Lawler never lived to see a Pack basketball game in Lawler Event Center as he passed away in 1980. But his legacy will continue to live on at the University of Nevada. For Wolfpack Week Sports, I'm Dallas Kolodny.
The Nevada football team was well represented at last month's NFL Combine. 5 different Pack players were able to showcase their talents in front of all 32 NFL teams. Starting on offense, where the Pack's top receiver Rashard Matthews had a pretty good showing. He placed in the top 10 in 3 different categories, including 3rd best in bench press with 20 reps of 225. His overall grade was 65 out of 100, which projects him as a 4th or 5th round pick. Running back Mike Ball was in the top 15 in 6 of the 7 measured workouts. He clocked a 4.65 in the 40-yard dash, and his vertical was a ridiculous 36 inches. Guys, I've seen this guy dunk before. It's quite a sight. That puts him, his overall grade was a 48. That puts him on the border between the 7th round to undrafted. Switching to defense, where the Pack's captain Brett Roy worked out with the defensive linemen. You might remember Roy came to Nevada as a safety, but ended up on the line his senior year. He had the 6th best number on bench press with 32 reps, and his 40 came in at 5.07. His grade was a 52, putting him in the 6th to 7th round. Linebacker Brandon Marshall finished in the top 5 in 2 different workouts, including the top mark in the 20-yard shuttle at nearly 4 seconds flat. His 28 bench reps were also impressive and good enough for the 5th highest among linebackers. His final grade was a 54. He's projected to go in the 6th to 7th round. Finally, linebacker James Michael Johnson had the best combine for any Pac player. He was in the top 10 in 3 different categories, including jumping 10 feet 4 inches in the broad jump, good for second best for linebackers. He ran the 40 in 4.68, almost as fast as Mike Ball. His grade of 66.7 was the highest for Pac players and puts him in the 4th round. Off the field, the Nevada Athletic Department has signed Hall of Fame coach Chris Alt until 2015. Alt will be entering his 28th season as head coach this year, and he's been around for much longer. He's a 1969 graduate of Nevada where he played quarterback. He also served as Nevada's athletic director. The Pac baseball team's just getting underway. They're currently sitting at 5-3 after taking 2 out of 3 games in their home opening series against Utah Valley. Pitcher Braden Shipley has been lights out to start the year. He's 2-0 with 11 scoreless innings. Junior Brett Jones is leading the team with a .424 batting average. The preseason coaches poll has Nevada finishing in 6th place in the WAC. That's it for sports. Back to you, Madison.
Thanks, Mike. An event that is recognized worldwide is losing its carefree reputation. Burning Man is an annual gathering in the Black Rock Desert of Nevada, and last year it sold out for the first time in its 25-year history. In an attempt to make ticket distribution more fair, Burning Man organizers implemented a new lottery system. Unfortunately, that system backfired. Cassandra Walker has the story.
Burning Man is less than 6 months away, and about 25% of the usual entertainment currently have tickets to the event. Many veterans of the Art and Music Festival view the lottery system as a negative plan, making it both expensive and unlikely to get tickets.
I do not have a ticket to Burning Man this year.
Allison Redman is a third-year burner who voices her concerns about having so few veterans in attendance this year.
I think it's just going to affect everyone's experience. Like, the point of Burning Man is to experience all of Burning Man, and without the people who know what's going on, it's not going to be the same.
Sarah Yeager is a theme camp coordinator and burner of 8 years.
Yeah, we have everything we need to run a camp. We just don't have a ticket.
She is now facing the reality that over 95% of her camp is currently without tickets.
Like, me and my boyfriend are the core people that run this camp, and both him and I do not have our tickets. And so basically there's no camp if we don't go. So I can't even plan if I'm not going.
The lottery system has resulted in StubHub purchasing thousands of tickets and selling them at a higher price on their site. Jenny Reuter is a well-known hooper in Nevada who has performed at Burning Man. She says scalping is still an issue this year.
I don't think StubHub should have any access to Burning Man tickets. I thought that scalping was illegal and that the lottery system was put in place to prevent scalping of the tickets.
Chanel Barrett, a third-year burner and performer, is one of the few to have gotten her Burning Man ticket already.
I'm really glad that myself got a ticket, but it's a little unfortunate that many of my friends didn't. So it's just going to be a different experience if they don't get to go.
The scheduled March ticket sales have been canceled, according to the Burning Man website, as an attempt to get more performers and theme camps to the playa this year. For Wolfpack Week, I'm Cassandra Walker.
ASUN has a huge variety of clubs, from the film club to humans versus zombies. But one club on campus takes playing with fire to a whole new level. Christy tells us more.
While campus is closed and classrooms are empty on a Friday night, this club gets together and lights things on fire. As the sun goes down on campus, UNR's Fire Spinning Club comes out to play. But the thing is, they can't actually light anything on fire. Because of fire permit restrictions, the club has to practice off campus. Because when you're playing with fire, you might just get burned.
You catch yourself on fire sometimes. Sometimes your hair on your arms or your clothes, but 9 times out of 10, you can just look down and pat it off real quick and keep going.
But even for first-timers, it's not as scary as one would think.
Despite almost feeling like I was going to set myself on fire, I didn't care at all, because feeling that warmth that close to me felt really interesting.
Members say that bandanas are a must when using devil sticks and staffs, unless you like burning off your nose hair. But fire spinning is an art form, where one becomes a dancer with heat. You just have to make sure it doesn't get you.
So sometimes you'll catch yourself on fire.
For Wolfpack Week, I'm Christy Swartz.
Guys, I can barely light a match. I don't know how they do that.
I think that's so cool, and it's a club, so anyone on campus can join. How does that work?
Well, they're always looking for new members. They're pretty small right now, but they are very into it. They're really cool people, and you can hire them for events too. They'll come right out to you.
Oh, cool. We need to have a party with them. That's all for this edition of Wolfpack Week. If you have any comments or suggestions for future stories, just email us at wolfpackweek@gmail.com.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.